Okay, so where to begin? Sophie, the lovely Sophie, and I, our relationship, our working relationship came about quite by chance. We were both at a seminar and we got chatting, as most partnerships tend to develop, and we started talking about projects that we were interested in doing. Sophie was aware of the situation in Govan Hill. Govan Hill, according to the Glasgow Indicators project, approximately a third of the Govan Hill population are from an ethnic minority, and a considerably higher proportion of that than the Glasgow average, so it's like plus 186% from Glasgow. The Roma community in Govan Hill were getting a bad press. One of the newest communities in the area, local people were blaming them for the rundown nature of the neighbourhood, for the littering that was going on. You can see this lovely thing here, says Govan Hill on it. Govan Hill instead of Govan Hill. And we got together because we really wanted to give an opportunity and a platform for the Roma community to kind of address this from their own point of view. We wanted to give a sense of collected history, a pictorial history rather than an oral one, and also for them to record their own history and redress the balance of representation, because like a lot of museum collections, the objects that we had that represented that community were very scarce. Okay. So, Sophie was already in contact with Marcella, who is the Roma Project Officer at Oxfam in Glasgow, and through discussions with her, the idea of the project began to form. We were obviously keen not to be too prescriptive. The Oak Museum doesn't work prescriptively. We like to mould projects as we go along, and we really needed to have input from the community. So we went along to meet the community elders, me and an interpreter, because obviously there was a language issue, so we went along to Govan Hill and shared our proposal, and they were really taken by it and really keen to be involved. And at their suggestion, we worked with young people. They wanted us to focus specifically on the young people of the community. So Marcella started working on recruitment, Sophie started working on funding, and I started thinking about getting a professional photographer to come in on the project, and thinking about logistics, transporting young people, refreshments, all the kind of things that you've got to think about when you're working with a community project. So the first day we welcomed 8 young people and 2 youth workers to Glasgow Museums Resource Centre, which I know a lot of you are going to go and visit this afternoon. And we had a chat about the project, we set the scene, and then we went into stores. So we used contemporary photography from the Glasgow Museums collections. So here we've got an artwork by Joe Spence. Next to it we've got an artwork by Joseph Mackenzie, who was a Scottish photographer. And we also looked at images by Mick Waplington, who takes lovely domestic scenes of his own family, and these lovely ones here by Ursula Keller. You've actually got images by Ursula Keller on your tables. She kind of merges different cultures together in a really nice but provocative way. This one's called Washing Dirty Linen. So we had a look at these fantastic things that we have in the collection with the young people. This is us in one of the pods, as we call them, the GMRC. We don't call them stores, we call them pods. So this was us looking at artworks by Sebastian Salgado. So once we'd been in the pods, we went back to another space, and Isolt, who's here, the photographer who worked on the project, talked the young people around the cameras, told them how to set up shots and all that kind of stuff, because this was completely new to them. And the nice thing about the cameras was we got funding for them. Via Sophie's ideas, we got funding, so the young people could keep the cameras at the end of the project, which was really nice, because the skills that they developed they could then go on to progress with. Okay. The next day, we hit the streets. We went into the young people's communities. We met them in the library, and I just went over the basics again of the cameras. And then we went out into the street and looked at the places that were meaningful to the young people. They wandered around their streets, they took us to parks, they took us to churches, they took us to schools, they took us to places where they met their friends, and they catalogued their own environment. They took hundreds of photographs, hundreds and hundreds of photographs. And hundreds of photographs of things that you walk past on a daily basis and don't think about, like the paint flaking off a railing, you know, and the graffiti, and you know, all these things that represented community to them. Pigeons, lots of pigeons. And we also took lots of photographs of their families and their friends, so we've got all these fantastic images of people's domestic environments. It's very cool, isn't it?
It's a very bad voice.
And their friends. So they took these hundreds of photographs, and then the next time we met them at the street level, which is a photography gallery in Glasgow. Aisel works there, and she met them, and we looked through the hundreds and hundreds of photographs, and she talked to them about balance and all these technical terms that I know very little about. This is why we had a professional photographer on the project. And they critiqued each other's photographs, which was really interesting. You know, why did you take that image? That's not good. And all this dialogue was going backwards and forwards. They then selected just two, because we didn't have a lot of space, just two images each that they really wanted to be in the final exhibition that came at the end. And the exhibition was then launched as part of the Scottish Mental Health Art and Film Festival. This is actually in Kelvingrove. And during its run there, we had a lot of interest. A lot of people came, and some of the young people came as well and brought their families and their friends. The most common thread that came out of discussion from this was that everybody wanted to see the other hundreds of photographs as well. So we put them online so that people could access them. After Kelvingrove, it went into the young people's community. This is in Govan Hill Baths. It was there for 2 days, and we had nearly 100 people come and have a look, including the young people and their families. We did a small exit survey for people who wanted to be involved, and one of the questions that we posed was, how do the images make you feel about Govan Hill? Answers came things like, I don't know it as well as I thought I did. It's a place like any others. It looks like the kind of place you'd want to be, the kind of place you'd want to live. They represent the area. So lots of really positive feedback was coming back from it. The young people said things like, we really enjoyed learning something new and the opportunity to look at our neighbourhood in a different way. Marcella from Oxfam said, the young people were excited about taking pictures from different perspectives. They said that they were proud of themselves when they saw the pictures in the exhibition. So the next thing that we did, because we're the Open Museum and we take exhibitions out, we made it into a smaller tabletop exhibition, which is just behind Loretta on the back there, so you can have a look. And we also put images, as well as the young people's images, we put images of the process of the project happening too. But the thing that we were most pleased about is the fact that the interpretive text, English is secondary, the community language is first. And that's something I don't think we do often enough, to be honest. So it was good that we could do that in that particular instance. So, Sophie, would you like to?
I'm Sophie Taylor. I'm the Health Improvement Lead for Equality and Diversity for Mental Health Service, Greater Glasgow Piper Board. A big mouthful. To actually understand the Roma community, they actually migrated from the north of Pakistan about 1,000 years ago over Iran, Turkey, Russia, and they were caught behind the USSR line. And they actually are well documented. The discrimination in that community is well documented in the Centre for Roma Study in Budapest. They ended up in the south of Glasgow, and I hear a lot of stories. That was the motivation. And a senior manager said to me, they're filthy, they're dirty, you know, they do all, they're thieves and all that. And I got really riled up about it. And the question for me is, you know, how do you remove the stigma? How do you normalize actually behavior that's actually quite common among the community 10, 20, even 30 years ago? And I think that's the whole aim of it. We got the police actually to give us the money for the camera. We bought 15 cameras. We thought, kids, they lose them, they damage them. Not one camera was lost, not one camera was damaged. We got them cameras, and they weren't expensive. Cameras were 10, 12 pounds each. Got them a chip so that they can take as many photographs as they want. There's motivation behind this. This is a community that have oral history. They don't have written history, so they have really bad health outcome, education outcome. They're really, really suffering. And this is one step towards documenting their history. I always call it a slice in time. You slice it in time. It's almost like a non-binary thing. You slice it in time and you keep it. And I think that's the interesting part of this project. We enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a really exciting project. But one little story would be quite useful is that I was walking around this old man around the beds of Oliver, and he actually was amazed, and he talked about his own childhood, about playing on the street as a young man, hanging around the corner to hear news, which is what the Roma children did. They ran around the street, they played on the street, and the young man hang around the corner to get news of the family. So those behavior was very, very normal. And after that chat, you know, he actually thought, yeah, that's what we used to do as well. And about a year and a half later, I went back. People still remember that exhibition. To us, that's a result.
Yeah, and just to say that some of the photographs are going to get into the museum collection as well, so there's a legacy from it as well. But Sophie and I...
Yes, we're in trouble again.
She's my partner in crime. It should be.
We're always in trouble, isn't it?
I know.
Oh, terrible.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Protest.
Yes, there's no volume. That's the power of that Palestine.
There are many things I used to protest against as a youth growing up in Scotland, as a woman, as a black person, as a Glaswegian. In some parts of Scotland I've realised that that's not the best thing to do. But in the maturity of my years, I've realised that one of the things I protest against the most is the lack of respect. There's a lack of respect in society for people's time, for people, for old people, for disabled people, for children. Our communities are fragmented into little units, detached wills, semi-detached wills, flats. Very few people even getting to know one person's name for the next. I want that to change. I want to know my neighbour's name. Even if I don't like them, I want to know them. I'm a bit lucky where I stay. We have the opportunity to know.
Oh, there we go. So this is a work in progress, because when we did the project with the Roma people, we weren't intending to do a protest project, but when we kind of evaluated it, we realised that it had been a bit of a silent protest. And this year is the 100th anniversary of the rent strikes in Glasgow, where local women rose up against landlords who were putting rents up by a huge amount, and through their protests, legislation was changed. And we thought that protest hasn't gone away, people are still protesting, and especially women, and women from lots of different communities in Glasgow who don't tend to have voices. So we were keen to work in partnership with them and have those voices heard. So what you saw there isn't the finished article, it's a work in progress, and it will hopefully be ready fairly shortly.
I think people hate to be my friends. we reach out to the African community, the Asian community, which one of the hardest communities to reach out is actually the Chinese community in Glasgow, and we managed to get one or two of them. We got a couple of Filipinos. They hate to be my friends, that's what they all say. And we also have a lot of different exercises that we take photographs of people. And if you are involved in the protest project, you want to, we'll probably put you on it as well. And the whole idea is that though all our whole life, we have angst and we have protests. The question is, what is that expression? And whether it would do any good. we want to record it in history that we're still here and we're still angry and we're still protesting.